Well, the question is, we're really at a boiling point in Darfur and neighboring Chad. The humanitarian issues alone, we have about 2.5 million refugees who, as this gets worse, are in much, much more peril. And it became apparent to us that the simple policies that we're having, the process that we have to go through in the political stages of this, need also humanitarian effort along the way, because we need to speed up this process. These people are going to die. China was our first stop, because China does so much trade and has so much influence financially with the government of Sudan. And we felt that it was a smart thing to go to two countries that are friendly to the government of Sudan, rather than people who've put them on terrorist watch lists and say they won't do trade, in order to go to them and say, what are the things that we can do? What are the things that they're willing to do? First and foremost, to protect to speed up the humanitarian effort, and secondly, to try and find a peace, help find a peace in this. We believe that the truth is, we're fairly sure that no one's going to be invading a sovereign nation anytime soon. So if that's not going to happen, then the best move, we believe, is to find diplomatic answers, and the best people do it, best suited. Who better than the center of all of the Arab countries and the leader of them for so long? That's why we came here in particular.
Mr. Clooney, you have different views from Chinese and Egyptian government and the Arab government. I know that you have differences, and you've met with officials. You've met with Mrs. Mubarak. You've met with the foreign minister. How did you come out with those meetings? Was the gap still as wide as it is, or it was lessened after those meetings? Did you have a better understanding of their position, or still you're at the same position now as you were?
Well, first, I think we have a much better understanding of their position, which is always important. I think that the secret to this is going to be what Don has been talking about all along, which was, and Joey and all of us, were the idea of having conversations, that the way to understand people is actually to talk to them. And so we had a great several meetings yesterday to hear opposing views and to hear reasons why these difficulties exist, not just the ones we hear on the, from the West. What we found fascinating also was how concerned the foreign minister, how concerned Ms. Mubarak is. We found a great commitment to finding ways to step up. We talked about her possibly leading a women's delegation or forum about talking about this, and possibly going to Chad to look at one of the camps and to try and bring attention.
You persuaded her to or she had that?
I think it was her idea as much as anyone's, but it seemed that she is very committed now to bringing the attention to the idea that while all these other situations have to be solved, that there are a lot of people dying. And we found that with the foreign minister as well. There were great conversations about sending in, because he said we have the ability to put people in who are not at danger, humanitarians, and who won't be fired upon because they're Egyptian. That's unique to this situation. And he said that if we can get it funded, meaning they fund it, we help the funding, we do our part, that he can get some humanitarian effort in some of these camps as well. And that was a huge step, we thought, because it also sends a signal to the government of Sudan that every single one, from Beijing to Egypt, everyone said there is grave concern with what's going on, and that we are really at the tipping point. Everyone said that.
Do you plan to going to Sudan to talk to the Sudanese?
We'd like to. We've had that conversation as well. We've had not much luck getting in there right now, as you can imagine.
You're not welcome, do you mean?
We weren't before. We couldn't get a visa. We did try, but perhaps as time goes on here, we might be able to get in there and have that conversation. I think we would all welcome the opportunity to speak to all parties involved, because bottom line is we don't know how to fix this. There are a lot smarter people out there. There are a lot smarter people in this country, a lot smarter people in China. We just want to make sure that their voice is heard.
This area is full of chaos. It's not just Darfur, and you know that. Of course, the Palestinians have been living in camps for over 40 years. Do you intend to have a similar approach, humanitarian approach towards the Palestinian who's living in such conditions?
Well, the problem is that we all understand. We're students of the world. We do understand that most of the issues that are coming up in general in the Middle East focus and circle around Palestine and Israel and that sort of problem. Ours is a single-minded issue. We can't try and encompass the whole world. The one thing we're trying to do is have a laser viewpoint of a very specific issue, a humanitarian issue for these people who are in dire need. And with that, if you can succeed in these small satellite moments, then perhaps that can spread into other places.
Probably because the complexity of the Palestinian issue you don't want to get in, or is it because you feel that the Darfurian...
I just don't think that... I think that it's an awfully, it's a problem that hasn't been solved by a lot of people over a long period of time. This is one we are not sure can't be solved, Darfur. We think it can be solved. The Palestinian one's a much bigger issue, and that needs a lot of very brave men and women to get in there and solve, and they should do it as soon as possible.